Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Raising Rice's YouTube channel. We're so excited to have you guys here. On this channel, we are passionate about raising households that serve the Lord. And on today's video, we are finally taking down our Christmas decorations. And as we do that, I just wanted to give you some tips and tricks from a mom of 7 about how we operate as a family team. Something that I think the world and society at large misses a lot is the team element of family. We can get so individualized in our passions, pursuits, schedules, what is in store in the day for each individual person that we miss that collective family team. And when we miss that, we actually get less done, which is so kind of counterintuitive. So as you can see here today, it is an all hands on deck. I have 5 older kids ranging from ages 6 to 11. I then have a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old. So my 2-year-old and my 4-month-old are still learning and seeing what a family dynamic looks like. And the older kids are just jumping right in to help. Now, let me tell you something. This did not happen overnight. I didn't just wake up this morning and think, I need everyone to help me take the Christmas decorations down. No, this is a lifestyle thing. And as a lifestyle, we in our family have the expectation that we all work together. We have a motto, and you've probably heard of it before. We say, many hands make light work. And when we say many hands, we all hold up our hands and we all repeat, make light work. And it's pretty silly, yes, I know, but it's so true. When we work together, teamwork becomes dream work. I mean, it becomes the standard. And there is struggles, obviously, that come with being a team, and that is the comparison trap. We fall victim to comparing what other people in our family are doing into what we are doing. We also have this justice, fairness bone in our body where everyone should have to do the same thing. But let me tell you, we've had so many conversations how our 11-year-old has different expectations than our 6-year-old. And that's because she has had 5 years more to train and to figure everything out. We also talk about the difference between gender. Yes, I know that this is not a popular thing in today's society. We have the same expectation as far as everybody is equal in value, puts in the same work, but sometimes we have different roles and different things that we ask of our children, and that is okay. Making sure that each one feels valued, feels like their job is super important, but yet know that we all are asked to do and perform differently for different tasks. Okay, quick background story about this tree. This is our 9-foot Christmas tree. And when we were first married, Darren and I, actually right before we got married, it was the winter before we were still engaged, I went to my cousin's wedding up in Leavenworth, Washington, and they had this Christmas shop, and my mom bought me this angel for our Christmas tree. Now, the funny thing is, my cousin got married in the spring, so not even during Christmas, but they have a year-round Christmas shop. So we picked out this angel, and we've been using it on our trees ever since. Our 15-year wedding anniversary is this summer. So this angel has been on top of our tree for 14 years this Christmas. What a special tradition that is. We, at the time, lived in Oregon when we first were married, and as you can see now, we live in Idaho. You might be able to see through the windows the snow that is out. Yes, we have a white Christmas, which is lovely, But when we lived in Oregon, we'd go every year and cut down our own tree because there was just an abundance of evergreens in the area. This is our second Christmas in our Idaho house, and we've decided eventually, not this year, obviously, that we are going to go get a $15 park pass to go and cut down our own Christmas tree. But until then, this fake Christmas tree will do. The only problem with real Christmas trees in our family is that Darren has horrible allergies, and so it can be kind of hard on his respiratory system to have a real tree, and therefore the fake tree pays off. Now, you might not know this because you haven't seen quite all of the videos in this YouTube, but we actually have 4 trees in our community space. Then we have 1 boy tree that goes in the boys' bonus room, and we have 2 girl trees because we have 2 girl bedrooms. I don't know what my fascination with trees is, but I just love the colors and the lights, especially in the evening when all of the overhead lights are off and the fire is going and the twinkling in the tree. It's just so festive. This is now in January 2025, but December 2024, it felt like a really short season of Christmas, probably because Thanksgiving was so late in the month of November, and our family makes it a hard, fast rule not to decorate until after Thanksgiving. So we had some family visit us over the new year, and we're not taking down our Christmas decorations until the first week of January, which is usually never happens. We usually always take down our Christmas decorations after Christmas or shortly after. You also might be witnessing me throwing the ornaments into a box. Yes, throwing them. What am I thinking? Well, these are plastic. And a few years ago, we decided to purchase the majority of our Christmas decorations to be plastic. It kind of got stemmed from having a lab. Our dog, Fender, at the time, had this massive swinging tail, and he would just hit the Christmas tree, and we had to be constantly moving ornaments up higher and higher and higher to where soon it was just half the tree was decorated because he would knock them over with his tail. But then we also had toddlers at the time, and while we do train our kids not to touch the Christmas tree and play with the ornaments, we find them other activities to do at Christmas. Like we have a felt tree and we have a plastic nativity. There is still something reassuring about if an ornament gets knocked over that it won't break if it's plastic and there won't be glass all over. It's kind of nice. All right, here you might see that the boys are in charge of taking this tree apart and putting it into this big cardboard box, and they're kind of struggling a little bit to figure out how it comes out. Sometimes I jump right in to help, and sometimes I let the struggle happen. The struggle is real, my friends. It is real, and it is so good for them to work through, to figure out new things, and to ask one another for support and advice. Look at everyone is like intrigued, like what's happening to this tree? And I am just sitting there all nonchalantly, just doing my business. And yes, they figured it out. Good job, team. Proud of you. And that is the beauty of team. Not only can you seek one another out for support and advice, but also you're there to encourage one another and be the helping hand when they need it. Okay, back to some more tips about teamwork as a family. Teamwork is dream work. One thing that we notice when we are training our children is that there is a tendency to be lazy, to be sluggish, to let others do the work instead of you. There is a lot of reminders when it comes to training and teamwork that we're all working hard for one another, but also for the glory of God. We do everything that we do to honor and bring glory to Him. And so when I see a kiddo not working with diligence, I say, hey, are you working for the Lord? Are you working unto the Lord? And is your actions reflecting one that wants to serve and to show God's glory to others? Sometimes this connects with the kiddo, and sometimes it's a hard lesson that just needs to be the little voice of reason in their head. One little challenge that we run into a lot is the tattletale-ing of one another. One sibling might come up and say, so-and-so isn't working, or so-and-so isn't doing this. You know, and you get the picture. My response is always to turn them back to the book of Matthew, where it talks about going to your brother. To preserve the relationship between you and them, it is important to go to them first and express your concern or your offense, and to see what their reaction will be. Will they change? Will they start to work harder in this scenario? Or do they need to have the counsel of someone wiser, like their mom or dad, to help encourage them? And if they do, then if they have not changed their behavior, then after talking and consulting with one another, then you can bring in mom and dad into the conversation. I know that sometimes it feels to me as a parent that I should jump in right away, but I really want my kids to learn and grow in the ability to encourage one another onto righteousness. And so that is what the first step of their conflict resolution is. The next thing that I want to remind them in their relationships with one another is that it is easy to try to pick out the sliver in your brother's eye while a big honking log is sitting in your own. So I try to remind them this principle by a visual. What I do is I point with my hand and I say, when you are telling on one another, you are pointing your finger at that person. Now look at your hand. How many fingers are pointing back at you when you point out the fault in someone else? Yes, there is 3 fingers pointing and a thumb back at you. So you are bringing negative attention to yourself, even though you think you're pointing out the fault in someone else. And sometimes that helps them notice that brings attention to the log in their own eye instead of the splinter in someone else's. All right, back to Christmas decluttering, putting away tip here. You may see that we are bringing all of the Christmas decorations in our downstairs over to one centralized location. I have all of the things come to our our dining room table. So everything that is through the house will be set there. And then from that spot, we can wrap up glass things and put them in the boxes that you see over by the pole. I have so many nativities. I love collecting nativities. In fact, the nativity that resides above the fireplace this year was a nativity that Darren's grandma had painted for his dad. So it is a treasured heirloom, and the nativity on top of the piano was actually my great grandpa. He painted that and got passed down to me as well. So that's so fun. We do have a plastic nativity that I put low to the ground so my 2-year-old can play with it. It ends up all over the house, let me tell you. I used to have a fabric one, but that dog I told you about in the story, Fender, he chewed it up, so that is gone. And then I have several other ones that I like to put around the house. It's really important to me to have so many nativities because it is the reason for the season, but also because when I see them, it helps me focus on the different people, the different characters, the different blessings that came to each person in the nativity story. Yes, I love and I connect with Mary when it comes to pregnancy and delivery, as I have had 7 children, but there's other people. The faithfulness of Joseph when he was directed by the angel to take care of Mary, and then his compassion for her that is displayed as he and her travel to Bethlehem. The humbleness of the shepherds, and that the Lord chose them to be the first to see baby Jesus. Wow, so wonderful that he wants to meet and connect with each of us, no matter our station in life. And then the wise men, can you imagine them? They were so passionate about God's creation that they pursued a star in the sky, and it brought them to the Creator himself, born as a baby in a manger. What a beautiful thing. And I just love when I look at the nativity just to see different characters and what they might have experienced or been thinking. I also, on a side note, love greenery, especially during the winter season. As you saw out the windows, everything is white, which is so lovely and fresh and bright and clean with the snow here in Idaho. And we, when we built this house, decided to do just simple white, black, and gray coloring. And so when we put up our Christmas decorations and get all the the green and colorful things on all of the trees, it just brings a different feeling to this special time of the year. An interesting story happened for us. Our son, he brought up a very thought-provoking question. He said, "Why do we decorate so much for Christmas and not really that much for Easter? Is Christmas more important than Easter?" And we had an opportunity to talk about how we couldn't have the Resurrection Sunday for Easter if we didn't have Christmas. But it is that act of Jesus dying on the cross, being that sacrificial lamb, standing in our place, that we are able to celebrate Easter and have faith and be in union with God, with the Creator of everyone and everything, because of that sacrifice of the Son. So they're both extremely important, but it kind of got me thinking, like, why do I not decorate for Easter? I am very convinced that the easy decorations that would come for Easter would be to do the cultural decorations of, rabbits and chickens and eggs and all those things. But how can I decorate for Resurrection Sunday and stand apart, to be set apart, so that when people experience my home or when they see different pictures, that they will say, I wonder what that decoration stands for, or what the meaning behind that is. So you'll have to check back in around Resurrection Sunday and see what I have come up with for decorating. I know that some people, when they do real Christmas trees, which we have done this once in the past, they will cut all the branches off the stem of the Christmas tree, and then with that trunk, they will turn it into a cross from the tree of Christmas, from the birth and celebration to the Resurrection Sunday. I love that. It's so meaningful and a beautiful connective element from Christmas to Easter. But anywho, back to our story. This tree over here that we are taking down right now is our Jesse tree. We follow along the rod of Jesse, and the connective elements, like a ribbon through the whole Bible, is the story. And we have little circles that are ornaments that we put on the tree as we read through the Bible to figure out different ways of prophecy that's talking about the soon coming King, our Lord and Savior Jesus, born in a manger. Such a beautiful story, and important that the children see that this is not an isolated event, but yet has been talked about and predicted and prophesied over throughout the Bible. All right, back to another tip for family teams. Sometimes when there are a large number of hands helping, in this case, when we have all hands on deck, if we're all working on the same project, sometimes it can be overwhelming and it can feel like you don't have a place or you don't have a job. And so in times like that, I like to separate the kids into different teams within the family team. So I've sent my 2 older boys upstairs to work on the homeschool room tree and take that one down, while my daughters are working on packaging up the breakables, and then my youngest son and I are finishing taking down the tree. A few minutes ago in this video, we all were working on this small little tree, and it was starting to get hard to figure out how to take it apart nicely, especially with all of the hands and everyone wanting to be involved. It's great to have everyone involved, but sometimes that can provide discouragement when you don't feel like your job is being valued. So it is okay and it is right and reasonable to split everyone up. Now, when we do split everyone up, sometimes I like to pair a older and a younger so that they can have practice in their leadership and in following directions. And then sometimes I just send them up there to navigate for themselves how they're going to work to accomplish the task. And it is true that sometimes it's just natural. They just jump right in and do it. And then sometimes they take time to talk. And my human side gets very frustrated when they're just talking. So I like to encourage them to come to a conclusion a little faster sometimes so that we can be diligent workers. And then that is important, to be hard workers. It is one of our family values and something that we are always trying to instill in our kids. Can we just take a moment to talk about how much storage all of these Christmas decorations take in our garage? I am so grateful now that we have built this new home that we have been able to get creative with our storage. But storage is an issue, and it is something that I am trying to learn more strategies for. One thing that has been helpful to me when putting away these Christmas decorations is to have each of the trees that I have be in a box. So our main tree, we try to put all the ornaments in one box, and our Jessie tree all in one box, our kitchen tree all in one box, and then our homeschool room tree all in one box. I find that this is helpful for taking down, and it is helpful for setting up. I can just come into the house. I have the box labeled, so I just put it where it needs to be along with the tree, and then it is good to go, and the decorating seems much more enjoyable. But also the taking down of the trees doesn't feel as overwhelming because I know that everything has a place and where everything goes into. You also might be disappointed to know that because I have this voiceover and music on, you cannot hear the conversations happening while we are taking down our Christmas decorations. Sometimes there's singing, sometimes there's just talking about the day or about the plans or different things that have stood out to us. Also, obviously, instruction of how to put away something or what the meaning of certain things are. Like I told you about the stories of our nativities. It's always fun to talk about those things with your kids year after year to remind them about the significance of the hand-me-downs in the families. And I think one of the beautiful things that is missed when we live a individualized life or do things without focusing on the family team is that we miss the opportunity to have those conversations, to make those connecting points, to develop those memories together. In fact, it's all so individualized that the memories do happen, but you don't remember doing it with anyone else. And I just hope and pray that as our kids are developing these connections with one another, these memories about simple things like decorating or taking down together, that even if they don't remember every event since they are young, they will remember the feeling of being together, the habits that were formed in community, and they will most importantly remember the beauty of family. Sometimes I have to remind myself this, especially since we like to do a lot of hiking or visiting national parks or different things out in nature, that some of my younger kids might not remember everything they see, but I pray that these are just habit forming for them and that they can be part of our vision casted for our family, where that specific memory might not always stick in their brain, but that we are creating a family vision and family values that when they are older, that they will look back fondly and remember the times spent together. Okay, next hidden story about our Christmas decorations. I am not one to buy things new. In fact, mostly all of our Christmas decorations have been purchased at 90% off or hand-me-downs or at thrift stores. I am notorious for going after the season and purchasing things that we need for our family. It just boggles the mind that you can spend $300+ on an artificial Christmas tree before the season, and then after the season it's like $3. So I'm all about finding a good deal because I do want to make my space decorative, memorable, lovely, and festive, but I also do not want to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to make that happen. And can I tell you the truth that in a family, and I told you a little bit about this with the plastic ornaments, I want to be so attached to every decoration that if something happened or if it broke or anything like that, that I would grieve over the item more than the heart of my child who maybe accidentally broke it and was feeling bad about that. Okay, guys, we are moving out the boxes. These boxes are going to the garage and they're going to be up on top of our storage shelf that we made. One of the many blessings of having a large family is that when we all pitch in, we get the job done in no time. It is such a relief because then it allows you to do things like decorate the whole house. We are constantly telling our kids and encouraging them that we wouldn't be able to do half of the stuff that we do as a family if it wasn't for them. We have a small family farm and we wouldn't be able to do all of the animals and all of the fun activities when we travel and getting the camper ready and all that stuff if we didn't have everyone's wonderful help and support to be able to do that. It is such a blessing that when you take time to train your kids in the ways of the Lord and in character qualities and in teamwork, that those in turn create blessings upon blessings for your family because of your diligence when they were younger. Speaking of younger, you might see our 2-year-old just little dawdling around there. She is so sweet, and we do like to include her in as many things as we can. Look at her trying to figure out how to lift this with her big sissy. But the truth is, right now, what she is witnessing and in being encouraged in is being part of the family team. As she grows in maturity and in strength and in wisdom, she'll be able to be one of the big kids doing it all together. But it's so fun that the whole family has an attitude and an atmosphere of togetherness that they do include her, even if they have to pick up the extra slack from the weight of that box. I love seeing her get involved, and I love seeing my older kids get involved too. All right, my sweet friends who are watching this, thank you so much for taking the time to hear our story, to be encouraged, to see our family on mission for Christ. If you have any questions about what we do, why we do, leave it in the comments below and we'll try to get back to you. Also, if you want to see a video, feel free to head over to our Instagram page at Raising Rices or our blog page, raisingrices.com. Send us a message and we'd love to take the time to explain and show a video to you about how we operate as a large family. If you've enjoyed today's content or have been having questions about how large families operate, tips and tricks on parenting, homeschooling, or homesteading, make sure to give us a follow and subscribe to our channel. We would just be so blessed by that. And the crazy world and algorithms, we need different like-minded friends like you to join and partner with us as subscribers and as likes so that we can get this content out to others and be an encouragement to them. We just desire so much that we are raising households that serve the Lord, and in turn that would just create a generation upon generation for Christ. Thanks so much, and see you next time.